A mirror appears to be one of the simplest objects in daily life, a smooth surface, a faithful reflection, a passive tool that merely shows what is already there. We rarely question it because it feels natural, almost unavoidable, as if humans were always meant to see themselves this way. But the mirror, as we know it, is a surprisingly recent solution to a much older human problem, the desire to stabilize the self. Before mirrors were reliable, seeing yourself was an event, not a constant. Water provided reflections, but water moved. Wind distorted it. Light shifted. A face appeared and disappeared in fragments. Polished stone and metal offered better clarity, but at the cost of darkness, tint, and distortion. Bronze and obsidian mirrors reflected dim, ghost-like versions of the viewer. You could recognize yourself, but not study yourself. That limitation mattered more than we tend to realize. Without a stable reflection, your sense of appearance came largely from others. You learned what you looked like through reactions, descriptions, social feedback, and memory. Your face existed more in language and imagination than in direct observation. Identity was externalized. It lived in stories, reputation, and role. The modern mirror reverses that relationship. At some point, glassmaking, metallurgy, and chemistry converged to allow a thin reflective layer to be applied behind clear glass. The result was brighter, sharper, and far more forgiving than metal. The surface no longer tarnished easily. The image no longer darkened the room. Most importantly, it stayed still. For the first time, the human face could be observed repeatedly, in the same conditions, day after day. That repetition changed behavior. People didn't just see themselves more clearly. They began to compare themselves to themselves. Yesterday's face versus today's, one expression against another, one version judged against a remembered ideal. The mirror introduced continuity to self-perception. This is where the mirror stops being a neutral reflector and starts becoming a design intervention. A perfectly accurate mirror would show you exactly as others see you. But that is not what mirrors do. They reverse left and right. A scar you think of as being on the left appears on the right. Your asymmetries are flipped. The face you know is not the face the world sees. Yet the human brain adapts quickly. The reversed image becomes familiar. Familiarity becomes comfort. Comfort becomes truth. This trade-off was not corrected, because correcting it would have made the mirror less useful for its real function. A true, non-reversed mirror would feel wrong. People would reject it emotionally, even if it were more accurate. The mirror succeeds by prioritizing psychological acceptance over optical fidelity. This is a recurring pattern in everyday design. Objects that shape human behavior often sacrifice technical correctness to preserve emotional stability. The mirror's job is not to tell the truth. It is to provide a dependable reference point. That reference point quietly restructures how people prepare themselves for the world. Before mirrors were common, grooming was functional. Cleanliness mattered. Order mattered. But self-presentation was guided by cultural norms and social correction. With mirrors, presentation becomes private and iterative. You can rehearse expressions without consequence. You can adjust posture, clothing, and effect before anyone else sees you. This creates a feedback loop. The mirror teaches you what you expect to see. You begin to match yourself to your reflection rather than to your community. Over time, standards of normalcy shift inward. This inward shift solves a problem that earlier societies could not easily address: anxiety about social readiness. The mirror allows people to arrive in public already calibrated, already checked, already adjusted. It reduces uncertainty. It gives the illusion of control over how one will be perceived, but that control comes with constraints. Mirrors encourage visual self-surveillance. You begin to monitor small deviations. A hair out of place, a crease, a posture that feels wrong. The mirror does not tell you that these things matter, but it makes them visible, and visibility alone can create importance. Designers did not need to add features for this to happen. The simplicity of the mirror is what enables it. No instructions, no commentary, just a silent presentation that invites judgment. Placement reinforces this behavior. Mirrors are positioned at thresholds, bathrooms, bedrooms, hallways, elevators, shops, transitional spaces where people prepare to move from private to public. The mirror becomes part of the ritual of crossing that boundary. Its size and framing matter too. Large mirrors invite full body evaluation. Small mirrors focus on faces. Framed mirrors suggest decoration and permanence. Frameless mirrors feel clinical and objective. Each variation subtly communicates how the reflection should be interpreted. Yet none of this feels intentional when you encounter it. That is the power of invisible design. The mirror also reshapes memory. Because you see yourself so often, you form a mental image that may not match photographs or videos. When confronted with an unflipped image, many people feel discomfort. It looks unfamiliar, even though it is closer to how others see them. This moment of discomfort reveals the mirror's true influence. You do not know your own face. You know your reflection. The mirror does not preserve identity. It manufactures a version of it, consistent, stable, and emotionally acceptable. That version becomes the reference against which all other representations are judged. From a design perspective, this is remarkable. The mirror succeeds by being almost nothing. No moving parts, no interface, no explanation. It shapes behavior through repetition and placement rather than instruction. What existed before mirrors was not ignorance, but uncertainty. What the mirror replaced was not darkness, but instability. It did not solve the problem of visibility. Humans were already visible to each other. It solved the problem of self-consistency. And in doing so, it quietly altered how people relate to their own bodies, faces, and presence. The realization often comes late, if it comes at all. The mirror is not a window. It is a rehearsal space. Once you see that, the object feels different, less passive, more involved. It becomes clear that many everyday objects are not designed to help us see the world, but to help us feel ready to enter it. The mirror simply does this so well that we forget it is doing anything at all.